Narva has a history of being a battleground. This northeastern Estonian town saw one of the first big battles of the Great Northern War in 1700 between Sweden and Peter the Great. In World War II, it was fought over by both Germany and the Soviet Union. Now, some are wondering if it could be the setting for another conflict.
On this side of the river lies Narva, which is in Estonia, the EU and NATO. But just across the river is Ivangorod, which lies in Russia. The gap couldn't be closer.
The fear for some is that after Ukraine, this could be where Russian President Vladimir Putin chooses to test NATO directly. More than 95% of the population are Russian speakers, and many cross the bridge of several hundred metres every day to Russia. Reminders of the past are everywhere. A statue of Lenin lies in the castle grounds, and the old town hall, razed to the ground by Soviet bombing, has now been restored. Inside, Fyodor has been working for 19 years on a model of the old town of Narva. He cites the saying, "Don't wake a sleeping bear, as when it wakes up it will be angry." But despite that, this Russian citizen doesn't believe in a repeat of Russia's invasion of Crimea. Next door is the town's college, and the director is an Estonian who moved to Narva 15 years ago.
Narva is the mostly Russian-speaking city in the whole of Europe. In Narva is 97% Russian-speaking people, and I present one small minority Estonians in case of Narva. And of course, the people of Narva know Russia, know Ivangorod. It is the border city from part of Russia. And the people can compare the life in Ivangorod and the everyday life in Narva, and of course life in European Union, in the border of European Union in Narva is better. The people they visit Narva ask often, the people they go from other part of Europe or from USA ask, what is the reason the Russian-speaking people are in Estonia and have not left Estonia? And maybe the best answer is when you must go once from Ivangorod to Narva, and you can understand life in Estonia is really better as in Russia.
Both national and local governments agree with her. Ministers told me there was no demand from Russian speakers to belong to Russia, and Narva's mayor, Edward East, stresses that the situation is not at all comparable to Crimea. He says there are certain issues with Russian speakers over citizenship and language, but they are within the limits of a normal multicultural country. Narva is strategically important not just for its border position, but also because 90% of Estonia's electricity is produced here. Tonu Ars is head of the local power plants, which derive much of their power from oil shale, and he says businesses prefer Estonia.
If you look to the left, you will see the Russian border here. We are very close to the neighbor, the biggest neighbor we have. In the business environment is very much different from our neighbor. Quite many Narva businessmen they are talking about the possibilities here because they see it, how does it look like on the other side of the border, and how does it look like here, how can be development here, how can it be there. So no doubt our local people prefer business here in Estonia.
Few in Narva believe Russia will invade, but they have welcomed the international attention heaped on them, as Nordic, Baltic and Eastern European foreign ministers have visited Narva, as well as more Estonian politicians than normal.
With some people talking about a new Cold War between the Western powers of NATO and Russia, the strategic importance of Narva has risen once again. And while the locals may be relatively relaxed about the prospects of that, they know from their own history the need to remain vigilant. Richard Milne, Financial